In a future where disease, pollution, and corporate greed have made getting a delicious meal more difficult than ever, the residents of Night City must prepare their food without eggs, dairy, or meat. This is Cyberpunk Kitchen. We will recreate meals from the action role-playing game Cyberpunk 2077 using ingredients that are readily available. So let's get started with today's recipe and see what a cyberpunk future might taste like. The inspiration for today's meal is a scene during the quest Gimme Danger, where Goro Takamura and V discuss their plans over a meal of yakitori. Warning, spoilers ahead.
Give me the best on the menu.
I highly recommend the yakitori today.
Yakitori literally means grilled bird. There are as many different types of yakitori as there are parts on a bird. It appears from the in-game footage that the vendor is serving up sukuni, or chicken meatballs. Based on information V gains from Placide during the quest Ma'ap Tan Palan, real chicken wasn't an option.
Here I thought selling domesticated fowl was still illegal. 6 years poultry supposedly had the plague. Now all of a sudden, poof, it's clean?
This not for sale.
By the way, I translated Ma'ap Tan Palan and it translates to I'm waiting for a trap. So I had to find a suitable chicken replacement. I bought a product that billed itself as plant-based chicken substitute and it was awful. I ended up trying two non-meat products, tofu puffs and seitan puffs. If you're not familiar with seitan is made out of wheat gluten. Based on research, mostly Wikipedia admittedly, it appears that the key to any type of yakitori is a sauce called tare. I couldn't find Tare-sauce at my local Asian grocery, but Tare-sauce is easy to make and all the ingredients would be available in a Cyberpunk 2077 future. Basically, all ingredients are added to a saucepan and simmered until the sauce thickens. This is sometimes called a reduction because the amount of water in the sauce is being reduced. The ingredients for Tare-sauce are in the text below. This video shows a chopped onion being used in the sauce. However, I changed the recipe to use onion powder instead. It's less chunky. If using natural skewers like bamboo, they'll need to be soaked in water. Put the skewers into a pan and cover them with water and set aside while you make the rest of the recipe. Please note that I didn't have any sake, so I substituted it with beer. I added the ingredients to a saucepan and simmered for 20 minutes, stirring often. The original recipe called for straining the sauce, but that was a disaster. The sauce was much too thick for a strainer. Using onion powder instead of an actual onion should negate the need for straining while still resulting in a fairly smooth sauce. Transfer the sauce to a bowl and set aside. It's now time to prepare the skewers. Slide the ingredients onto the skewers, ensuring the ingredients don't split. Yakitori is often served a la carte. Because I was planning on eating this yakitori for my dinner, I added some veggies to the skewers and served them as a meal over steamed rice. It looks like an electric grill is used in the game, and that's what I'll be using too. I purchased my mini grill at a garage sale very cheaply. The grill doesn't heat up all that well, so I actually put the skewered food in the microwave to pre-cook the vegetables and use the grill for browning and crisping. If you're using this technique, make sure you don't use metal skewers in the microwave. Once the veggies begin to brown on the grill, brush on the Tare-sauce. Also, rotate the skewers around on the grill to even out the cooking. Yakitori can be eaten right off the skewers, but in my case, I was making a dinner, so I stripped the food off the skewers and served over a bed of jasmine rice. Finding a chicken substitute is going to be the hardest part. I am lucky in that there are two very large Asian supermarkets where I live. If you aren't so lucky, you might find something at a health food store. Tare-sauce is what makes or breaks this meal. The puffs are much lighter than chicken, but taste great once they soak in some of the sauce. If I could find a decent chicken substitute, I think it would also taste great, as it's the sauce that adds most of the flavor to this recipe. The Tare-sauce will take the longest amount of time to prepare. Luckily, Tare-sauce can be made up ahead of time and should keep in the refrigerator for about a week. Since the puffs are pre-cooked, the time spent grilling will only be as long as it takes for the yakitori to brown, depending on your grill, about 20 minutes. The exact nutritional value of this recipe will be dependent on the specific ingredients used. That being said, here's an estimate assuming that the yakitori is served over a cup of cooked rice. So let's take a look at the Primo meter. This recipe only gets a gunk due to the difficulty of finding a palatable chicken substitute and the acknowledgement that finding tofu puffs is going to be dependent on the quality of Asian groceries in your area. Concerning the Tare-sauce, you can use it anywhere you would use a barbecue sauce and it will taste great. As previously stated, this sauce is the heart of the recipe. Let me know in the comments below if you try this recipe and what you think of the flavor.